This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
What's up? Real MVPs, Ricky Widmer here, and welcome in to another episode of The Draft Room. I am here with my fellow co-host, Dave Oster. Dave, how you doing today?
Doing fantastic. It's a hot one though, Ricky, ain't it?
It's a hot one out here, Carl. It's what we would call a scorcher. Not many people out here, some in bikinis at the beach, but besides that, back to you. How's my newscaster? You think I could do newscasting if I wanted to?
Get it off a little at the end there, I'll be honest. I thought you had something.
Was it too stereotypical? Was it too...
It's pretty stereotypical.
Too stereotypical for all the weathermen out there. But welcome into... I should have looked this up beforehand, Dave. I believe it's episode 10. We are episode 10 of The Draft Room. The draft podcast here on MVP, where we talk about NFL draft, NBA draft. We're in full NBA mode as we get ready for the draft on the 22nd. Remember two things. One, if you want to support us, make these videos happen, become a patron, a member down below. That link is in the description. Or if you want to join the best community in all of the universe, the MVP Discord, that link is down below as well. Dave, getting right into everything, because first off, before I bring up what we're going to talk about, I want to ask you, how are you feeling about some of the guys that we're sitting here today? We officially know who's in the draft and who's out of the draft. And are there any on the top of your mind that you're like, Dave looks like, oh, he's throwing me a curveball. We didn't say we're going to talk
about it. We didn't say we were going to talk about this. Now I need to go pull up the list of everybody who was true.
I didn't know if there were people on the top of your head that you had where you're like, wow, I can't believe. Like for me, I can't believe that Coleman Hawkins decided to come back to Illinois. I will bring him back with open arms and accept him. But yeah. I'm surprised he came back. I thought TSJ would come back, and he did. Or TS, yeah. Did I say TJS or TSJ? I said it right, TSJ.
Shannon Jr.
Was there anyone that you were like super shocked?
I was super shocked. Like Adem Bona was surprising to me. Mm-hmm. I thought he was for sure sticking out because a lot of people mocked him as maybe the third best center in the draft. Pretty weak class for center, so good opportunity there. Deron Holmes, another guy who felt like he was coming off of a pretty good, positive draft cycle. Thought he had a solid season. Think he would have been, a late one, early two. But clearly, teams weren't signing off on that, so he's going to hope to come back next year in a weaker class. And then maybe the other guy who I do like is Trey Alexander. Great measurables, great shooter. Going back, I think Creighton is loaded is an understatement. They're going to be back. They're going to be going for the championship, it feels like. That's, yeah.
Well,
those are the three guys off top, and not off the top truly, because I had to pull up the full list. To be honest with you, though, it's been so long, I forgot Kyle Filipowski dropped out of the draft.
Yeah.
I forgot that was even this cycle. I'm already thinking about him next year.
Yeah.
He dropped out a month and a half ago, so it wasn't even like a thought to me. But yeah, I get it. He's hurt, sure, but How about the guy who stayed though? I was mocking him.
What? Who? Filipowski? Were you mocking?
No.
Because I was gonna say I was shocked that it's the right decision, but I'm shocked Zach Edey decided to go back to college.
Yeah, he's getting paid.
I know that, the NILs, but I thought that either way,
No, he was not going to get drafted, Ricky. He's 7'4".
You never know, right?
You do know. You do, though.
But
we all do.
The draft is a mystery, Dave.
It's not.
It could be a boat. You know how much we wanted one of those.
You want to talk about guys who are a mystery?
Go ahead.
Jordan Walsh coming back or staying in the draft is. The man looks like he should be a basketball player. He has all the physical tools to be a basketball player. He just can't shoot a basketball, which is a minor detail in playing a game of basketball. So
one of the things you need to play basketball is to shoot the ball.
Yep, and didn't have an overly impressive combine games as far as the scrimmages. His measurables were great, though. And I guess people are just kind of chalking up to the fact that, like, you know, not a great system for him with Arkansas, with their talent. He just didn't have, you know, a groove to really fit in. But he is a potential, like, 1 through 4 defender. He did play some small ball 5. So, like, I get it. He's toolsy. He's a great defender. Can he learn to shoot? It's a big question, though. That's a big question.
Well, let's get into what we're going to talk about today, Dave. I won't throw any, well, I'll try not to throw any more curveballs at you.
I mean, throw them, but just expect that I will not accept that very well.
The first thing we're going to talk about today, the big thing, you wanted to talk about this mostly, was the Rockets. There's a lot of discussion. Let's be honest, especially now because the Celtics are out of the playoffs. People are thinking, oh, now that James Harden's out, now that Jaylen Brown's out, what's going to happen? Are they going to be, will the Rockets be getting some new pieces? Will they be contenders a lot sooner than we thought? And they sit at the 4th overall pick in the draft, moving down 2 slots when we had the draft lottery. The big thing that is going on with this, Dave, and where I want to start is, should they pick or should they trade? There's a lot of articles out there that are like, hey, these would be the best trades for the Rockets at 4. But then there's other ones that are like, oh, well, the Rockets are liking this prospect and this is who they should pick. And what if like a Scoot or a Brandon Miller fell to them at 4? I will ask you, first things first, if you are the GM of the Rockets, congratulations on the new promotion, Dave. You are the GM. You're the president of basketball operations, whichever one you want to be. What is your primary lean here? Would you be leaning more towards looking for a suitor to trade to or looking for a player to draft it for?
So, first thing you have to do is identify that James Harden situation. Now, we all like James Harden. James Harden likes Houston. Seems like it should work out, right? The small issue there is, you know, the money he wants at his age, and, you know, is he the player he used to be? No, but he's not a bad player by any means. He could still dust off, get a couple games in, but clearly he is not someone who can carry a team. Maybe not what you need him to do, though, in this situation. At the same time, it does feel like just a total leverage play to get his money from the Sixers because he's got him. He's just got him by the balls at this point. So I feel like that whole thing is just going to end up with him taking a paycheck. And you know, we joked about it. The Sixers are fighting back by saying, we got Nick Nurse, our new head coach. We're just going to go get Fred VanVleet. If you don't want to be part of this dream team we're setting up here, like, it's totally just this is James Harden's agent versus the Sixers front office, and I love it. Personally, I would go with the youth route. I think that they have a good young nucleus around JG4, Şengün, and Jabari. I like a lot of the swings they've taken in the draft. They do need to actually get a point guard because imagine a point guard and a coach that they now have. And I know that the whole thing with Ime Udoka is he didn't come here to rebuild. You know, he wants to compete. He thinks they can win. He said the right thing as a coach. And to, you know, the press.
He said the right thing as a coach, but do I believe what he said?
Well, as opposed to their former coach who's like, man, who knew pick and roll was such an effective tool to use in a game? Like, it is 55 games into the season, and he just figured out what a pick and roll is. Somebody please stop this man. Like, he is a basketball terrorist right now. I just saw the pen.
Well, you said MFR. That's the first one. Being one on the board.
Yeah, one on the board. Get the first one out the way. It might be my first, you know, the longest I've gone without swearing.
Yeah, I'm impressed. I'm impressed at this point.
Point being, they now have a competent head coach who has displayed that he is a very defensive-minded coach, and he can get the most out of his guys in that respect, with at least in his previous role. You know, so to his credit, I think he's got a steep task in front of him because JG4 is not known for, you know, how excellent of a defender is. Now, I do have to asterisk this as a JG4 huge fan. He does show a ton of hustle, and he does show like max effort. It's situational though. Like, it's a long season. He's still a young kid. He's not going to bring it every night. I totally understand that. But he did like rise to the occasion. Like if you watch the games against like the Warriors, he wants to go challenge the guys. Like that's in him, which is great.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you want to see out of your future star. So, but defensively, yeah, there are some holes to fill and a lot of defense to teach. So I'm excited to see that pairing of Ime plus a young core, and I think they should stick on that building plan of you have a lot of young players. Let's not feel an urgent rush to go ahead and go do something right now, especially with this new CBA taking effect next year. Like, let's not tie up a ton of money and let's kind of wait and see where the waters settle. Because right now we're in a great place. They've got money, which they do have to spend, but they have money and they have a ton of young assets and they have draft picks right now.
Yeah.
Like, let's not push something to happen that doesn't need to happen right now is my thought. So I'm at 4. I am taking that 4th pick and I am drafting a player like Amen Thompson. I am not looking to flip this, and I know that the number one team everyone has targeted for like trade talks is obviously the Toronto Raptors, because they clearly are going in a different direction as seen by them moving on from Nick Nurse. The thought is, Pascal Siakam is likely gone. OG Anunoby was floated out last year, but the asking price was hilariously over what anyone was willing to pay, which is on par for that Rockets front office, unfortunately. So I am a little curious to see like if a deal does get done for Pascal, but Pascal's an older player too. He's in his prime right now. So like if you go get Pascal, that would mean that you want to compete in the next X years with, of course, him signing an extension, but like it feels unnecessary to push for, either Fred and Pascal or Harden and Pascal or, these big names, because you have such young talent.
Well,
there's no need to do this. You need to get a point guard and a coach and establish a culture. Like, you got to start building the base of this franchise from ground up. You can't go ahead and grab stars and start putting expectations on kids who haven't played a meaningful game. Like, it just, that's the truth.
So where I'm kind of leaning is I totally agree with what you said from the start. What direction are you going to go? The first piece that, like, there's a couple dominoes that need to fall. The first one is James Harden going to be a part of this team? Are we going to suit James Harden? Are we going to try to bring him here? What's the realistic chance that we get him here? They don't have to worry about a sign and trade with James Harden because they have the money to just say, here you go, here's your money. The other linchpin is Jaylen Brown, the other name that's been linked and this is why this is why it's interesting, because Jaylen Brown, the last time we had brought this up, we thought that Jaylen Brown was just going to be able to sign this year, but apparently he's got one more year on his deal in Boston before he's up.
Yeah, I was saying the signing is his extension. That's what was on the line for if he made the All-NBA teams, he would be eligible for a different extension. Because
of how they ended, the big question that I would ask my team if I was the GM or the president of basketball operations with the Rockets is, are we going to engage in talks with the Celtics to try to not just bring in James Harden, but to bring in Jaylen Brown as well? Because not only will players need to be a part of that deal, but I'm 100% sure that if I'm trading for Jaylen Brown, the 4th overall pick is going to need to be a part of that package.
You wouldn't be wrong. Yeah.
Like, is there a way they can get Jaylen Brown while keeping the 4th overall pick? Because I don't see it.
No, and I know that Danny Ainge is gone, but
now it's Brad Stevens, Dave.
I like Brad Stevens. He's less of a hateable human being. Danny Ainge in trades, as we all know, just don't.
He loves his war chest.
Don't. Well, you just don't trade with him because not many people win, and by not many I mean almost no one. I think his record's insane, and that's only been propelled by
Father Time ain't the only one that's undefeated, Dave. Danny Ainge in trades.
Look at what he did to Utah in 1 year. Like, you can argue with that? No. He just went ahead and grabbed the MIP He flipped Gobert. He flipped on just all credit in the world. That man is a basketball genius, mastermind, whatever you want to say. So, yeah, no, I don't expect Brad Stevens to come in with that level of clout and respect around his trade. So, yeah, I don't think you're going to have like an insane asking price for Jaylen Brown, but the 4 is required because your next best assets are your big 3, quote unquote, of Jalen Green, Jabari, and Şengün. I'm not sure if any of those 3 would be on the table. Which sounds insane to say out loud. I would have to guess one of them would be. Likely not Green. I would probably guess either Jabari or Şengün.
Yeah.
And knowing Brad, I'm going to take a wild guess and say he would prefer Jabari. And then you got to give up like KPJ, KJ Martin, maybe a Jayshawn Tate. Like just those guys who are wing players who have a ton of upside. Like KJ Martin's fantastic. Super underrated player. He needs to get paid. He's on I think he's going to get team opted for like nothing basically this year. And then he's due for money, which is nice. But are any of those players on their own worth Jabari? No. So you have to give up, or worth Jaylen Brown? No. So you have to give up more. You got to give up that 4.
There's an article I'm looking at that I have here from The Athletic, and I will just say this. Out of the 2 names you just listed, Alperen and Jabari, the only trade they have on their article that includes either one of those 2 players is a trade for Miles Turner and Buddy Hield. And they would have the Rockets giving up Şengün, Porter Jr., KJ, the 4th overall pick, and then a first rounder in 2025.
For
Buddy Hield and Miles Turner.
Who wrote that article? Just so I can know who I'm slandering.
So the article itself was written by Kelly Iko of the Athletic.
That's a terrible trade.
Last name is IKO. Yet again, I don't know if she or he or she. Okay. Don't know
what they did. Yep.
What they did. Good point. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. This is what it is. Let's see what I could cook up. So all these trades in this article was cooked it up. Why does Houston do this? And then, hey, they brought in like a Pacers beat writer. What would they think about this? So that was a trade that Kelly Iko.
Good concept. I think that is a terrible value for the Rockets to give up that for Miles Turner and Buddy Hield. That's insanity to me. But I think Jaylen Brown wise, yeah, you could give up one of the 2 of them without
Kelly Iko. Also, I apologize.
Nailed it. So yeah, if I'm going Jaylen Brown, it's KJ, KPJ, maybe Jabari,
Tari Eason,
and 4. Tari, I would prefer to keep.
Okay. All the people that I'm seeing in all the other trades are KJ, KPJ, Jayshawn Tate in some of them, Tari Eason in other ones. Like it's mostly those guys. They have a
glut of wings.
Yeah.
And they're all pretty good. So like, I feel like the Rockets are like Ime Udoka's dream team here because you're walking in with like a bunch of super interesting skill set wings. They've done a really good job drafting. Like you still have Usman Garuba, who's developing down there. You still have Ty at the point. Like, love to see him get some burn this season instead of Dyson Nix, because I swear to God, if that man has to play basketball in the NBA again, stab my eyes out. So yeah, I think that like fit wise, sure, you could go get Jaylen Brown. You're gonna have to give up a lot to get him. Yeah. He is worth the money though, absolutely. Even with the poor showing in the last game, and the Heat really exposing him, more so the Celtics' lack of answers. I don't put it entirely on him. It's just the Celtics, the way they were coached.
I mean, in Game 7, I think it was Caleb Martin did say the game plan was to, and the thing I loved was they showed, like, there was a Twitter thing. They showed the clip and then they showed a video of all the different plays from Game 7 where you see Heat defender like, nope, not letting you go to the right. I'm just going to leave the left wide open. And then he would go, cough up the ball, steal. Like,
imagine if the Celtics had a point guard who could run an offense. Wouldn't that be a novel concept? That you would have a point guard run an offense?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. I got some thoughts and feelings.
You're not that guy, pal.
I got some thoughts. Well, he doesn't even get the opportunity.
I know. That's what I'm saying. He's not that guy in the Celtics mind.
Could probably do a decent job. You have Malcolm Brogdon, who's been a point guard in the NBA.
By the way, Fast PP wants a trade. Officially.
Yeah, he should. He should. That's where point guards go to die right now, is the Boston Celtics. Like, I know he's a combo, but get off my balls, okay? The point is that their coach is committing... No, he's not as bad. He's not as bad as Silas. Not as bad as Silas. I'm walking it back.
You can't put
Joe Mazzulla.
Mazzulla. I almost said Mazzulla. Mazzulla on the same level.
Not a basketball terrorist just yet. But the point being,
the one thing I will say is, so
I'm all in on the rebuild, man.
James Harden's the first domino. If he comes in, if he comes in, I trade number 4. If he doesn't, I take the pick. I'm gonna put a little bookmark in who I would shop. Like, there's one team, there's one trade I really like for the pick. I'm gonna leave it till later.
Oh,
there's a reason, Dave.
I know. I already put together. I know what's later.
So there's a reason why. So we're gonna go to the other point first, which leans into you. Okay. Who did you say you would take if you were at number 4 with the Rockets? If you're picking at 4?
Probably Amen Thompson is the BPA for them, because you assume Victor 1, Scoot 2, Brandon Miller 3. I know the two of them are interchangeable for a lot of people. That's my personal preference.
It's funny. It's funny you say that. Kelly Iko, again, from The Athletic, has a report. This is what he wrote. There's a reason so many within the Rockets organization are so enamored with him being Ahmad Thompson. Everything about him oozes potential. The defensive intensity and attention to detail, the explosiveness and athleticism, the ball handling and playmaking. It's hard to not see those qualities in a young player and not envision what he could look like next to Jalen Green, a gifted young scorer and elite athlete.
Yeah, no, he is a perfect fit for that offense, because he can run an offense. I really want to just put that out there again, that Silas just did a masterful tank job. But then, like, he got the losing part right, but he forgot to develop his players. Somebody needs to do like a look back on how much he destroyed potential. I'm really unhappy with that, man. Sorry, I'm just kind of coming out now. But yeah, I think Ahmed is a perfect fit. He comes in the NBA as a top 10 athlete, is what a lot of people are saying. 6'6", super good first step like that. He's beating people on the perimeter. He's gonna get to the paint. He's got good vision. He is just athletic as hell, though. Like that's the whole thing. It's just he's got the whole package outside of the shot. And now you can say outside shot. Didn't I just make fun of somebody for not being able to shoot? Yes, Jordan Walsh, I did. Glad you're listening, paying attention. The difference is Amen Thompson's an elite athlete and you are not. And Amen Thompson's an elite passer and you are not. I think the shot's a slow improvement game. It's nothing that, like, I don't want to say it's not necessary, because it is. But we've seen athletic guards make it through without being the most efficient shooters.
Yeah.
A la Derrick Rose, Russell Westbrook, John Morant. I almost want to put De'Aaron Fox in that category. Like, coming out of college, he was not a great shooter.
I'll say with Derrick Rose, different game when he played compared to now.
Sure. Yeah. I just mean, like, elite athlete at the point guard position who doesn't have to rely on an outside shot. That's my scope for this one, just so everybody's on the same page.
Good point.
These guys who, you might be capable of pulling up from 3 every once in a while, but they're not going to treat you super seriously beyond the arc, especially not in the playoffs, So I think it's one of those things where you take him, you know that he's young, you know that you can work to develop that shot, and you trust the fact that, like, this kid has basically been trying to be a professional basketball player for the last 6 years of his life at least, and he's been working with NBA coaches, NBA scouts, NBA trainers, all this stuff already. Like, he's been trying to be a pro as soon as he possibly could be. That's why he went to like OTE, probably for other monetary reasons, if I had to guess. But I really do think that he is just special as an athlete, and that's what will propel him at the next level.
Now, one of the big things about the Thompson twins, and I brought this up on a past draft room, is one of the main criticisms from them, or for them, or against them, I guess you should say, is that the level of competition that they played while at OTE is not the same. It's not as diverse, I should guess is the word I'm looking for. Like, there's not much variable. You're not seeing, like in college, you would see so many different opponents compared to like the small pool in the league that they played in.
Talent pool. Yeah.
Small talent pool. Also, the age range. Like, I've seen some where it's like, wow, they're just bodying up 15 and 16 year olds. Like, no, duh, they should be able to do that. I'll be honest with the Thompsons. I don't love them. I don't hate them. I'm completely in the middle with both of them because, like, I see what everyone else sees of, like, especially like Ahmed. I'm like, hey, he could be good. But then there's a part of me that's like, we just look at, like, it's when you look at the highlight tape, you're like, oh man, this kid's going to be amazing. And then like 10 years later, you go, hey, remember when we thought this guy was going to be like the next big thing and he didn't even pan out in the NBA? Like, there are those cases. I'm not saying they're going to be them, but like with me, I don't know where to gauge. Do you think the criticism though of the talent that they played is even a viable criticism for them, or is it something that teams shouldn't even worry about?
No, it's totally valid. They chose to go this route. They could have played in, the G League Ignite for a couple of years like Scoot did. Scoot was a 2-year Ignite player. They could have gone over to Australia. They could have played in the NBL. Like, they had options in front of them. They chose the OTE because that was a business, that was a startup, that was a cool concept that basically is taking the it is probably a bad analogy to say, but like, it's taking like the mixtape kind of culture of play style and putting it all together, packing the gym, trying to bring in those professional trainers and former coaches, former players in the NBA to surround these kids with a different perspective from an earlier age, which you wouldn't get in college. Like, college is known for the old school coaches who, I think you were the one who said to me, like, that's great that you want to play that way, but we're playing the game my way, my style, because I've known basketball for longer than you've been alive. Like, you get stuck in those situations where you get kids trapped in college, which thank God for the transfer.
When you go to college, you go to join the team, not stand out above the team.
Exactly. And we've seen that with so many super talented players who've come into the NBA, and you're like, how do we not know this guy was this good? Oh yeah, his college team held him back. Like, they avoid that. They avoid that stigma. So I think, well, it wasn't the best choice for draft stock. It also hasn't really hurt them. Shaedon Sharpe is someone who did not play basketball even for the year. Like, and he got to stay, sixth, I think, right? Portland? Shaedon Sharpe feels like 6'7". I forget what he was.
I'll double check you.
But point being, did it affect their stock? Yes. Is the level of competition worth criticism? Sure. You can complain about that. But you also have to put an asterisk next to their 7. I was close. But you have to put it like an asterisk next to the play style as well. Like, OT plays a different style of game. Like, the NBA is closest to the G League Ignite as far as play style. And then you end up with like the NBL probably is the next closest style, because if you look over in Europe with not only EuroLeague but also like all of the smaller leagues, you end up with a more physical style in the majority of them. It is a much more team oriented. The stats won't stand out for you in a lot of the bigger leagues because it's about the team. It's more so about that franchise, that franchise winning for that franchise. Like, it's not a let me be a star kind of situation, with the exception of these, minor teams, like where the 92 or the Metropolitan 92s, like Wemby got to be that guy because he literally left a team that was not using him at an NBA level of usage.
Didn't he also
Like,
leave to, go work with a guy that was also with the Spurs for a long time?
He left Tony Parker's team
to
go play with Boris Diaw.
So he left Tony Parker's team. Okay.
To play with Boris Diaw's team, I believe. Can you fact check me on that?
Yeah.
I feel like that's a thing that I'm like pretty confident on. But the point is, like, he literally went to a team where he could get that NBA level of usage, which is not normal for anyone in Europe. So, playstyle wise, OT, back on topic, fast breaks. It is 70% fast breaks. The game is quick, super up tempo, a lot of shots, a lot of people. Oh,
Boris Diaw, president of the Met 92.
Man, am I good? And Tony Parker was the former.
Wikipedia just says President Boris Diaw. That's why.
No, I'm saying the former team, his previous team, Victor's previous team, was owned by Tony Parker.
Let me double check it. I only looked at Met. I just looked at Met 92, and but go ahead.
I love it. But yeah, because they're playing so up tempo, because they're playing so quick, I'm good. The issue is that we don't see a lot of half court sets, and this kind of goes back to the Chino Hills days when you talk Alonzo. You're talking LaMelo. You're talking, what's it going to look like when the game slows down?
Mm-hmm.
Can he get the same, does he see the same passing lanes? Does he see the same in the half-court offense when you have to run some sets? Does he still have that ability to create when the open space doesn't exist? And that is a valid concern. We did get to an opportunity, though, to see them play international level talent, which I think is something that a lot of people might be overlooking because early in or I should say mid-year 2022, they did a short tour playing against European talent. So we do have those games. You can look at that tape, and Amen did look special still. So, like, against a more physical, much older group of guys playing against, still looked like a star. So take that for what you will, And he's only going to keep getting better is the nice thing about it.
The other thing I'm going to ask, and this is because I've seen some people throw it out there, I think it would be criminal if Scoot was the one that this happened to, but is there any percent chance that either Brandon Miller or Scoot fall to 4? There are some people out there that I've seen it more with Brandon Miller, but everyone again loops in like if Scoot or BM slide to 4 or get taken outside the top 3, like I guess I guess it's
I would
because
say Brandon Miller would be the guy who's more likely to fall because we've heard a lot of pushback around his legal cases and what he's willing to say is coming from like a lawyer handing him a script basically to hand off to teams, and he's like, can't talk about it, still an ongoing thing, and a lot of teams are not feeling great about that, and maybe the answers he can give does not get rid of their concerns. So I think if there's a guy who's going to fall, it's him. I think Scoot is just super talented. All the interviews around him, like his teammates love him, his coaches love him. He seems fantastic. Brandon Miller has a level of concern around him, so I could see where teams get that. Like, we could just take.
The way I look at it is the reason why I don't think it's going to be Scoot is if Scoot's there at 3, either the Trailblazers are taking him or someone else is trading up for Scoot. If the Hornets go with Scoot at 3, I could see a team potentially, I don't know what this team is, but I would say I would put more money on a team trading, especially because of like the news of like the Rockets being enamored with Ahmed Thompson. Yeah. There could be a team that goes, no, let's try to make a deal with Portland to move up and get Thompson ahead of the Rockets. Because we know the Rockets are going to take him.
Yeah, and I could see Amon Thompson being ahead of Brandon Miller on a lot of people's boards. So that would not surprise me. But the team with the firepower, I got to quit using all these terms with guns talking about Brandon Miller. It's a seed that's up there now.
At least it's not John Morant.
Well.
We'll find out, Dave. We got to wait till the finals are over first.
We got to wait till the finals.
Don't want to put here, I'm going to tell you about it, but don't want to put a cloud over the finals. Here's a little cloud.
Don't ask. Got it. I don't know if there's a combination of a team that views Amen that highly and that's that motivated and also has the assets to get up there. That's my only concern.
One-
3 is up for grabs, in that Portland's made that very clear.
Mhm.
But, is a team like Portland willing to give up a lot to get there? Is a team like the Raptors willing to give Portland a lot? Like, I don't know. Could they give up OG and Siakam in a package deal to do a 4 for or a 3 for whatever the Rockets pick? 13? 3 for 13. And Ant Simons and something else maybe. Like, that would be real interesting. But I think that the issue then turns into our next topic anyway, where the Blazers need to make some moves happen before they could flip multiple assets. So if the goal is to get Amen Thompson, and I'm the Raptors, I'm a front office who has shown that I'm willing to take a shot at a toolsy wing player like Scotty Barnes, and I really like Scotty Barnes. Even though I know a lot of people said he had a down year, I think he continued to grow his game pretty well, though. He just super, super polished young kid. If they want to add another player like that, and Amen Thompson, we're just building the wings, man. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. They get a pure point guard out of Amen, and you have a super pass happy wing and Scotty. Yes, it would cost a lot for Portland to do that, but I still think Portland should just stay at home.
The thing I'm looking at is, I thought someone put it in our Discord, but basically there was a tweet that like the Thunder are looking to move up. And like, I think to myself, I'm like, would the
Thunder are that team?
Would a Thompson be a move up? Like, would they do it for him basically?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you recall the night of the draft, they were enamored with Giddey. Memphis moved up earlier in the day, and then we promptly watched OKC jump them to go get Josh Giddey. Both teams were very interested in one prospect. Zaire Williams notoriously went to the Grizzlies as a I don't want to say a compensation, but like that was basically like the backup plan for them. So Zaire had some issues last year. Not super great, but he could be something maybe. Who knows? Not writing him off completely, because obviously got a whole lot of opportunity without Dylan Brooks from this year. But OKC absolutely could. I think that OKC's got a different guy in mind. Who's the guy? Everybody's been rumored Leonard Miller. Out of the G League Ignite. Or you could always talk about Bilal Coulibaly. Victor's teammate, who's a super good wing, plays a lot of defense, great measurables. So,
Dave, speaking of Victor, let's go to that bookmark that I wanted to put down there. Remember, I said I'm going to bookmark this. We'll come back to it. It's a tool, Dave. This is a tool we're going to need later. We're bringing that tool out. The Rockets, when it comes to trading, I said there's one person I would trade for, and this is if I get James Harden. If James Harden has signed and he's coming, I'm trading number 4.
Here's the problem, Ricky.
Go ahead.
When does NBA free agency take place?
After the draft.
After the draft.
That's the thing. You're right.
Not the NFL.
Yet again, that is ass backwards in my mind. I'm an NFL guy. I like having free agency first. Let me set my team with vets, then bring in the future. I think it's really ass backwards to say, hey, let me draft my future and then hope I get veteran.
Well, no, because it makes sense.
I'd rather fill the hole. I'd rather fill my main holes with veterans, and then for the teams that are good, I rather hey, the things I need, get the vets in. But I'm a guy, I like free agency in front of the draft. I'm just going to ignore the chair. I'm going to ignore the raspberry to my right. As Dave got very red for a childish mind. I said it a lot of times. I knew what I was doing, but
I think you lock down the the mystery box that is the draft, and then you fill your targets in free agent. It makes more sense for me, because you don't know what you're going to get in the draft, because a team could come up and steal your pick.
I'll put it this way. If I feel like there's a very strong chance that James Harden could be joining my team, a trade I like, Dave, for the Rockets, and Kelly's got it here from The Athletic. Let me take number 4 and then a 2025 first round top 3 protected, so I keep it if I'm still bad, let me go ahead and get Keldon Johnson from the Spurs.
What does that do for that?
Gives them that point guard that you kept. Like, hey, I'm bringing in James Harden. I'm bringing in Keldon Johnson to be that point guard. Or can I do this without even bringing in James Harden and I take a Keldon Johnson instead?
What did Keldon Johnson do for me?
He would play the point guard for me and he'd be my point guard.
Keldon Johnson's not a point guard.
I mean, he ran that offense with the Spurs and played the point guard.
That was Trey Jones.
Trey Jones was not running that team when
Trey Jones
was not the one running that offense. It was Keldon Johnson running that offense.
Devin Vassell, and then Jeremy Sohan at the end of the year got to play point forward for them because
Keldon Johnson was running that team.
No, he was not.
Yes, he was.
Keldon Johnson started the year amazingly, and then a lot of people stopped watching basketball.
The Spurs also tried to tank.
Yeah, well, they did successfully because Pop's an absolute genius.
Did they tank? Did they tank successfully, or did the NBA kind of help them out with a rig job?
No, he tanked successfully because nobody was talking about how Doc should be banned from basketball, like everybody else who tanks intentionally. So,
I'm saying he got the number one pick because the NBA gave it to him. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely happened. But he still made the games entertaining. Is my point. Unlike the other tanking teams who just rolled out terrible rosters. So. Getting back to my point, Keldon is not a point guard by any means. Keldon is a small forward. You know what this team doesn't need? Small forwards. That ain't a thing. And he does not play defense very well. So I would disagree with that take. I think that if I'm going for a nope.
I mean, or if you're looking at the other side, Dave, if I think James Harden's going to come in, is James Harden the guy to run it? And then, hey, I want another vet next to him. I'm going to go ahead and trade for Keldon. Jalen Green can stay at the 2. Keldon's at the 3. James Harden's running my offense. Is that more realistic?
I mean, that's more realistic, but why? I don't. Keldon's good, but he's not worth the number 4.
The reason why is if I feel like if the Rockets are getting James Harden this year, and it's a big if.
You feel like they're pressured into.
They have to. I don't think James Harden is coming to Houston to be a top 5 pick in the draft.
Well,
that's not going to do that. I don't think
they're not going to do that because the pick is going elsewhere next year. This was the year to tank. That was the intention all along. So the pick goes to OKC, if I have my memory correct. Next year. So yeah, this is not a tank job next year. They're going to compete. And I think with Harden on the roster playing point.
I don't think they're a playoff team just by it.
No, I don't playoff. But play in? Remember, the bar has been lowered, Ricky.
I'll say this. I don't even think they're a play-in team just by adding James Harden.
Really?
I think the West is more competitive than the East.
And James Harden.
I think that the West is more competitive than the East is. That's I think at the West off the top of my head, I look at the teams in the West and there's going to be some question marks here. Number one, Ja Morant. If he's suspended if he's suspended for the season, all right, the Grizzlies are not a play-in team.
Well,
they're not a play-in team.
The Grizzlies play better without Ja Morant.
Still going to say they're not a play-in team.
Some would say.
Oh, that would be saddening too, that both the number 1 and number 2 picks from that draft class both played themselves off the court. Well, one couldn't play themselves on the court. The other one played himself off the court with off the court issues. Both of them.
I don't know what's crazy, but yeah, I get your point.
The Kings, I think, are still good. The Suns will be good. The Clippers will be there. Warriors will be there. Lakers are a question mark, especially if LeBron's got to miss time. And if LeBron could just say, screw it, I'm just going to sit out the year.
Warriors are a question mark.
I think they will be playing.
Is Draymond resigning? Is Poole staying on the roster? Is Wiggins staying on the roster?
As long as Steph and Clay in there, they are play-in team.
Is Kuminga getting traded?
Play-in team. I'm just saying play-in caliber is all I'm saying. I think
Just
the
raising
Warriors with
questions.
Steph and Clay, unless Steph
I'm
gets
just playing the
injured,
hater right now, Ricky.
if we're going to play hypothetical with who gets injured, any of these teams could fall.
None of that was an injury.
No. I'm saying
Every single one of the things I said is legitimate questions that they have to answer.
As long as Steph and Clay is on those teams, they're a playing team.
You need to back off the
That's what I'm saying.
The Clay train is not running at full steam anymore, my guy.
The Timberwolves, the Pelicans, and the Thunder could all be playing teams again. Yet again, those are all teams I think that are like, well, they played well this year. Let's see if they can keep the success up a second year.
Timberwolves more so.
And
got some roster work they need to work through.
And then also the two teams right after that missed the play-in, the Jazz could be better. And the Mavericks, we got to see what they do. I think they only missed the play-in. Like, they missed the play-in because they didn't want to lose their pick. Yeah. That was one. And two, Kyrie Irving. Once you add Kyrie Irving to a team, you're not going to make the playoffs. That's just what it is. It's more of a bad omen, if anything.
I don't know if Kyrie Irving's on the team.
Exactly. I'm saying this year they didn't make the playoffs because I added Kyrie Irving.
You don't know if Kyrie will be on the team.
I don't think he's going to be on the team. But even with Kyrie Irving off the team, I think the Mavericks and Jazz, it's just like You don't think the Rockets with this roster plus James Harden and an actual real live NBA coach is better? They're better, but like how many wins do you think how many wins are they adding? With
James Harden and a coach? That's a lot.
Yeah, no,
that's a lot of wins.
How many are they adding?
What were they at and what was the 10th seed?
The 10th seed was 4. They would have to add 20 wins.
Wow, that'd be a lot of wins.
Yeah, that's 20 wins, Dave.
I'll give you they can make it to 36 with those two additions.
But that's what I'm saying. I agree with you that like the 36, I think at best.
But then you have that in the 4th pick.
That's
what I'm saying.
Yet again, unless Thompson comes in and plays like Jalen Williams did for the Thunder. Like
they can run 3-yard lines.
Expectations. Like I agree with you. The low 30s to mid 30s, maybe just cracking like above 35. That could be where they are. But I don't think 36 wins in the West is good enough for a play-in spot. Is what I'm saying. 40 is the benchmark. I think you got to get to at least 40 wins, maybe, give or take.
Maybe. Look, they got young talent, and I like that. And I don't think that trying to leapfrog, like, what is Keldon Johnson going to do for me that KPJ couldn't? That's what I'm saying. Like I
think Keldon Johnson is a more rounded starter than KPJ. The big thing though is too of like, would you just keep the pick and then just say, hey, I'm going to run it with James Harden. James Harden and Thompson are my two ads. I'm just going to run it with this. Oh, by the way, I'm going to monitor the Jaylen Brown situation because he could just come here in free agency next year. Yeah. And then that's my 3.
That sounds much better.
And then your starting lineup is James Harden at the 1, Green at the 2, Brown at the 3, Thompson at the 4, and then what? Şengün at the 5 would be your starting 5? Yeah. Or Jabari.
Depends on which
I forgot about Jabari. Jabari would probably start at 4 and then Şengün at 5. Or if Thompson by year 2 is a starter, you have that flexibility at least.
Saying, but
what did you say?
I agree. Like if you're not starting him, something's wrong. Something's wrong. They got to consolidate some assets, so I'll give you that.
Yeah,
they got a lot of young talent, and they got to figure out what's good because their previous coach did nothing to help that.
Yeah, I'll ask you this then, Keldon Johnson. Spurs are looking to move up for a second lottery pick.
Yes, they want Case and Wallace, or they want Scoot, but they'll settle for Case and Wallace, maybe Kobe Buffkin.
So I'm going to throw out one team because I think it would be a huge, like I'm seeing an article here that just has their pick and the Spurs are on this.
Sure.
The trade is the Spurs would get the 5th pick in the draft.
Whoa.
Pistons get Keldon Johnson and a 2024 first round pick via Toronto. Would you do that deal if you're the Pistons?
So I'm jumping.
So the Pistons are moving out of the first round.
Is that Toronto pick protected?
I do not think it is. It does not say protected. It is not protected.
So Toronto can't tank and get any benefit out of it. is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, it is not protected, I don't think. Because The Athletic doesn't have it protected. But I'm going to double check on Real GM.
Yep, thank you. Value-wise, I don't love it for the Pistons. I think that Keldon would excel on that team.
Top 6 protected.
Okay, so, the way... So the Raptors being the mystery box that they are, whether they're going to tank or run it back, we don't know yet. But I could see the Pistons gambling on that, but you would need more. They would want more. They would probably throw in... Ooh, here's the thing. Pistons need wings.
Yeah.
Keldon is a good fit there, but I think that they would rather take whoever's there and go fresh contract, even though they do have money available to them. But I think that's just it would have to be like that first Keldon and something else on that roster. Not Devin Vassell. See, I don't like Jaden Ivey. So I think they should maybe ask for like Malachi.
You don't say you don't like Jaden Ivey.
I made it very clear.
I've never heard that before, Dave. Yeah. Never heard you say that.
It was like, yeah, I think if they got Branham, Keldon, the future first, you could see it. You could kind of see it. But I still think that's a hard convince for Piston fans.
Is there a different team in the lottery that you think a Keldon? Because like that's the thing. Like all the reports say the Spurs are just looking for a second lottery pick. Like if you're saying Case and Wallace, what you think the Wizards are idiots?
But I think, yeah, let's be honest. I think they did do something. Just before we started, there was something about their front office.
The Wizards.
Yeah, Wizards. I can almost spell. Wizards front office. To hire Travis Shelnick. So maybe not anymore. Maybe they did something right for the first time in a while. Former, Golden State assistant, former Atlanta GM. So smart guy, done a lot of moves, whether they're good or bad. But you can at least see where he's coming from. There's logic there, which beats the hell out of what that Wizards front office has done for the last 6 years. Easily to say that. So I would look at the Wizards as a potential team, but with Travis potentially coming on, you probably can't fleece them as hard. I think the other team is obviously the Mavs. Mavs are one of the two that I was thinking. In Texas, but the Mavs have contracts that they don't like. Keldon, well, he does not play great defense. He is at least a good offensive weapon consistently.
I mean, not even that. Like, just looking at like the starters for the end of the year, like Kyrie's not going to be there. You move Tim Hardaway Jr. Well, I'm predicting he's not going to be there. That's what I'm saying. I don't think they bring him back. Move Tim Hardaway Jr. back to the 2. Keldon Johnson plays your 3. Luka's at the 1, obviously. But like, I look at that. They're a team that I was like, okay, they could trade for Keldon Johnson. The other one,
Bertrand's contract to move too.
Go ahead.
So, no, I was just saying, like, Davis Bertrand's contract is like $17 million. So if they want to get out from under that for a useful player, Keldon Johnson is more than enough.
$17 million.
Guess who gave him that money?
Please don't. Not the Bulls. Why did I automatically think like who gave him money and it was us?
It was the Wizards.
Was that the Wizards? Yeah. I was gonna say they were the second team that I was like, wait, he played for the Wizards.
Did I not just talk about the Wizards? No, I mind talking about the Wizards.
The other team that I will say I looked at, Dave, and I was like, okay, Mavericks were 1, obviously. This other team is only because of they're 1 pick ahead of the Mavs, the Jazz.
Oh yeah.
Because the only reason I look at it is right now I'm looking at lineups.com for the depth chart. And they have the right now with contracts as they are, I believe, the starting 5 for the Jazz would be Clarkson at the 1, Agbaji at 2, Markkanen at the 3, Olynyk at the 4, Walker the God Kessler at the 5. He played phenomenally, Dave. I love Walker Kessler.
I know he played great, and I'm
Super
glad
Saiyan.
that Sophie has to eat his words every time we talk about him, because I was a big Walker Kessler guy, and Sophie's like, this man shouldn't get drafted. He's too slow for the NBA. He's got concrete in his shoes, like all this shit. And I'm just like, you don't know what you're watching right now. You're watching this man at work. Magic.
Point being, I think the Jazz are a team that I look at and I go,
I think Chris Dunn is going to be the starting point guard.
mm-hmm.
Clarkson thrived off the bench.
Yep.
And, that's him always. Also, he is up for a player op this year for $14 million, so I don't know if he's taken that or if he is going to sign and trade.
Yeah, he's got one. THT has one. Rudy Gay has a player op. Damon Jones has a player op.
Yeah. I would guess Chris Dunn would be their first shot at a point guard. He played really well last year.
What about Colin Sexton, or is he more the backup guard?
Sexton's a 2. Okay. Sexton's a 2. You got to stop calling him a point guard. We all know he doesn't.
Okay. Even Spot Rack has him listed as a point guard, and he came off the bench playing point guard. He ran the second unit.
How many assists?
I'm not saying he was an assister.
Answer the question.
I don't know off the top of my head. I just know I was betting on his points most nights, Dave. And he was a point guard off the bench. That's what he was listed as most nights via RotoWire, is point guard off the bench.
Yeah.
How many assists, Dave? Because you looked it up. Under 3? Do point guards have to assist anymore? It's all about scoring, right? Jokic is a point guard.
Colin Sexton, yes. That's he's a shooting guard. He's just a short shooting guard. He's good. But this should be the year where he's 100% healthy finally. Because last year, basically that first year of recovery, even if you're feeling good, you're not 100%. So now, with one full year playing under you, you feel more confident in your body after that surgery. I do expect him to play. Like, he played pretty well last year. Yeah. Under the radar, obviously, because Utah. But he played pretty well. So I expect him to kill it. I think he probably is their starting 2. If I'm dream team in this lineup here, I'd probably go Dunn at the 1, Sexton at the 2, probably Agbaji at the 3, Markkanen and Kessler at that point. I don't like it. I know they played Kellio next to Kessler a lot, but I just don't like those lineups. Even though he stretches the floor, yada yada yada. Don't care.
Yeah.
That would be my best possible starting 5 for them right now. So with an opportunity, sure, they could do that. They could slide over a background.
Because, I'll be honest, if I know you mentioned 2, but the one that I heard was Wallace. If Wallace is a player that they're looking for, if the Magic, because all mock drafts I've seen have kind of slotted him in with the Bulls pick, that would have been a great Bulls pick at 11, but the Magic slotted in for him at 11, jumping right above them at 9 or 10 would probably be what you would have to do. Who was the other name you said the Spurs would be looking at?
Oh, I was saying if it's not Scoot.
Oh, Scoot.
In order, they'd love to get Scoot. They would be cool with Amen Thompson.
Is there any way they could get the 3rd overall pick, though? If Scoot goes 3?
If Scoot goes 3, they would have to give up Vassell. And is the question. It would be Scoot, Vassell. I'm sorry.
Keldon Johnson. Would be
Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, and more is my guess. And I don't think I think Devin Vassell is something.
Well, it's like I told you this when we were getting ready for this. Could you imagine if the year 2023 turned into, in both the NFL and then in the NBA, a team from Texas swindled the draft to not only get a top 2 pick, but then also trade up to, in this case, 2K it and get the 3rd overall pick as well.
Yeah. They do have the ammo if it needs to get done. Do I see them making that kind of a big swing? Probably not. It seems kind of, although Pop has been a different Pop as of late. Can we all admit that? Like, Pop's been having fun. Pop's been making jokes and laughing more often, giving the press a little more to work with. I don't know. It could be a new Pop. We could be seeing a whole new Spurs front office. It just seems like too much to give up, but same time, Wemby at the 5, Scoot at the 1. How better to start? And you could probably still keep Sohan at the 4.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is a future. Just whoo.
That's a playing team, Dave.
No, it's not.
I'm joking, Dave.
Not a chance that team makes the play. If you're giving up Vassell and Keldon and
I don't know, Scoot and Wemby, like LeBron, his first year, like Wemby's supposed to be the best prospect we've seen since LeBron, and look at what LeBron did. That's how logic works, right, Dave?
I'm not going to take the title.
here's the pain. Oh. Dave's like, I'm not going to touch it. Dave, to wrap everything up, let's talk about a team we haven't talked about in a while.
Sure.
A team that is near and dear to our heart. Some would say, going back to, it's a near and dear to my heart, Stephen A. That bullshit. As we don't have a pick.
Yep.
Thought the NBA and Adam Silver would throw us a bone because Dave, I still don't understand. Adam Silver has ragged on teams that have blatantly tanked. We could have done that, but no, we're going to fight for the play-in. We're going to make the play-in entertaining. Still, I'm still
taking it as a win.
I know, but like, you should have thrown us a bone and bumped them to 5. However, we're still talking about the Bulls because, Dave, there are rumors. Casey Johnson of NBC Sports has kind of opened the door on a potential, not just Bulls getting into the first round, but how we could be working with Portland. The two things, the first one is, he says, but the fact that the Bulls are embarking on their same pre-draft process and interviewing projected lottery picks at the combine, despite not currently owning a pick, indicates management is open to anything. So is the fact they've added so predominantly in league-wide speculation this week, the Bulls and Trailblazers already have been linked to negotiating in advance of draft day because of the lottery-protected first-round pick Portland owes from the 3-team trade where Lauri Markkanen moved to Cleveland, Larry Nance went to Portland, and Derrick Jones Jr. went to Chicago. But that speculation centered on the first-round pick that the Trailblazers acquired from the New York Knicks in February's Josh Hart trade. And Davey went on to further say that if this would happen, after the Trailblazers jumped to the 5th, that multiple outlets reported the Trailblazers would explore the market to attempt to get a big splash for Damian Lillard. He then threw out DeMar's name and Zach's name as potential pieces to trade to Portland. It seems for the 23rd overall pick, but that seems like you and I were talking pre-show that if we're trading Levine, we shouldn't just have 23 on the mind, right? We should have 3rd overall on the mind.
Yeah.
Do the Bulls get a first-round pick is basically what I'm asking you.
I think we're more likely to walk away with that 23. Mm-hmm. I think that pick's going to open up things for the Blazers. We talked about before, I think, with the fact that in order for them to move any future picks through 2027, they have to give up that pick. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it is protected for the next 4 years, 3.5 years, 4 years, whatever it is. So, yeah, we own the rights. We're holding up their trades, and until they give that to us, we kind of own the cards, which is nice. It's a good feeling. For team not having a pick, we're basically guaranteed, like, you got to give it to us. Otherwise, how you making other deals happen? Like, we have to be the first stone so everything else can get rolling. And I do believe that Zach LaVine, no matter how much people want to crap on that man, is insanely effective offensively. And that's without playing next to a point guard for 2 years. At least 2 years. And you can go back further. Let's be honest. Kobe White wasn't exactly a professional point guard.
Oh, he's not. He's a shooting guard.
Well, he's growing. He's growing on me, man.
He's not even that. He's trash.
No.
He's just Kobe Forky. No. That's what he is.
No.
I'm trash. No. That's Kobe White. I am not a Kobe White fan. I will never be a Kobe White fan.
I know you slander the man. He's a better player. He hustles on defense now. Huh?
Okay.
He's a better player. Point being. Zach, point guard.
Mm-hmm.
I think would benefit. I think Zach having a point guard would benefit him. Damian Lillard, I don't know if you know this. He's seen as a pretty okay point guard in the league. Like he probably at least top 15, right?
Him and CJ did some good things.
Yeah, I mean, Zach is nothing if not just a much better version of CJ. So, Anthony Simons, pretty good player, great shooter. He's just a much less athletic version of Zach LaVine. You know, I'm sure there's a slight upgrade in there somewhere for them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that if we wanted to move Zach, even with his hilariously gigantic contract of $40 million this year alone, and then for the next 4 years, I think. I'm thinking we're gonna need the third overall pick.
Yeah,
but if it's just 23,
if it's DeMar, is it just 23?
Well, here's the question:
or is it Simons and 23 for DeMar?
It might be like DeMar and Caruso for Simons in 23.
I will say you are really on the trade Caruso train. You mentioned it a lot before.
He is a valuable asset on an amazing deal.
I know.
There is no reason that man should miss the playoffs. That's what makes me angry, Ricky.
I want Caruso on our team, though.
What do you do? If you love him, you set him free. We deserve playoff Caruso minutes. This man he was the second best defender of guards in the last season. This man was hustling his ass off for a franchise that could not give a Literally, Zach LaVine was on record saying, "Don't tell my coach I tried on defense in the Olympics because I don't want him to know that I can do it." Like, that's the level of effort you're getting out of your superstar.
Yeah.
The fact that we didn't chase him out of town at that point with pitchforks is a miracle.
Some people want to. Some people have been on the Zach LaVine trade wagon.
Wouldn't stop you. We had to pay him. We all understand that. We couldn't let him walk for free. But now that we've played another year, we still have no point guard. It would make sense.
Refresh my memory. That's when the Kings offered him that huge deal and we had to match it, right?
No, that was back.
That was before?
Coming off of his ACL after the first time. So we got him from the T-Wolves.
Yeah.
He played for us for 2 years, and then
the Kings thing happened.
Kings offered.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Cool, I'll be a King." And we're like, "Fine, we'll give you money." God. And it was an amazing deal for us. It worked out great. But then we did nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you do nothing, guess what? He still produced.
I mean, he did have to go through a year with the Thumb as his head coach. It was a bad year, Dave. It was a bad year.
True. But light at the end of the tunnel. Zach can go free. Trade him, get something back. We get a point guard in Anthony Simons, who I love. And I've loved this kid for
I mean, if we're getting the third overall pick, Dave, we got a point guard in Scoot Henderson.
I don't think Scoot's going to be there at 3.
Dave, let's speak into existence. Charlotte, you'll love Brandon Miller. You'll love Brandon Miller. Charlotte, Miles Bridges, Brandon Miller, like, you got all the off-the-court issues to go with. A little bit different in off-the-court issues, but, I mean, they're off-the-court issues.
Not good. Not good, Ricky.
Mitch Kupchak, you know what you're doing. You're doing a fine job. Don't go against your gut, Mitch. Your gut always is right. Your gut's always right. That's what they always tell you, right? Trust that gut.
Good.
What? Them drafting Brandon Miller?
just your entire sales pitch there was not good.
Oh, I'm not saying it's good. I'm just trying to speak it into existence.
I think we're one of those teams, and this is what I thought you were sticking
Brandon Miller.
That would take Amen Thompson at 3. I think is that not an AKME move?
I mean, that's an AKME move, but here's the thing. How confident are you in Simons being the point guard? Like, is he
only averaged like 25 and 7 as a point guard.
But Dave, how many assists did he have?
7. That's what I mean. Like,
okay.
25 points and 7 assists was.
I tried to throw your logic right back in your face. Because I know that he scores.
Yeah, he's a great passer. He's a great passer. He's an incredible catch and shoot player, which would mean pairing him next to Amen Thompson, who is a great facilitator, who will drive in the paint, collapse defenses, and then kick it out to a wide open, one of the best 3-point shooters on the wide open catch and shoots. Nope. Nope.
Vucevic, dude.
You can't just slide it in there, Ricky. You can't just slide in that open hole.
Vucevic at the top of the key, though, one of the most knockdown 3-point shooters. True, he loves that shot. Straight out of the basket.
There's a 3-foot window at the top of the 3-point arc that is his zone, and if he's just stepped to the right or a step to the left, well, that shot's still going where it should have gone if he was standing right in the middle. I love that man, but he is aggravated the fudge out of everybody.
But who are you talking about? I just
Anthony
Simons in there.
Anthony Simons. Like, that is a perfect pairing of Simons and Amen Thompson. That's why I'm saying, like, personally, I know we covered in the Blazers thing. I would just trade Dame. I would take Amen Thompson, maybe, you know. Or Scoot if he was there, but, you know.
What, at 4 with 3. The Blazers? No, at 3. You're right. The Rockets are at 4.
Yeah, we talked Rockets earlier today.
Yeah. I
think a lot of people are starting to come around. That's all. You know, Amen Thompson, very good player, very good passer, very, 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 very good athlete. So, I think the Bulls. If you're trading up, it's Zach. If you're trading for 23, it's DeMar plus for Ant plus. You know.
So I'll ask you this then. This will kind of be the last thing.
I just don't see how that doesn't. And again, this is just me kind of whatevering, but like I don't know if that's enough for the. I don't know if that helps the Blazers enough to win a championship or compete for one.
It helps. It gets Dame help.
Does it though?
Yes. Because getting him a player to play, like him and Zach would do fine. Is it enough to be a play-in team or like run the playoffs? I don't know. Depends on how much effort we know Damian Lillard in the playoffs can do well.
Yeah.
We know Zach LaVine can play well. Will they both turn it on? That would be the question. And Nurkic, how many games is Nurkic going to be healthy for?
Yeah, and you still have to pay Jeremy Grant. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if they end up with the DeMar route,
the trade probably wouldn't be able to happen until after free agency, right? Because of the Jeremy Grant they could go over to re-sign.
Yeah, they got his rights.
Yeah, that's right. It's always weird how the NBA contract stuff makes my head jumble. The thing I was going to ask you though is if it's DeMar, let's say it's DeMar for Simons in 23.
DeMar and Caruso for Simons in 23.
Sure.
They need the value. DeMar on his own is not worth.
Yeah. But the point is we're getting Simons in 23. That's the main point of this. If that's the route it goes, who are you targeting at 23? Because technically then we wouldn't need a point guard. That's why. So before
we could.
We could. And that's the reason why pre-show I was asking you about point guards later in the draft, because the big board leg on Tankathon had the main ones going before 23 and then all the other ones are after 23. So it kind of is like there's a void there, and it's
there's a drop off. You have your Scoots, you have your Amen Thompson, you have your Cason Wallace, and that's the end of the real point guards, in my opinion. I somehow completely voided Anthony Black from my mind for a second there.
Yeah,
Anthony Black is also an amazing point guard.
Anthony Black right now on they have him going top 10.
Yeah, so those 4 guys are all lotto guys. So once you get past there, you're going to take a shot on a guy who is either a combo guard or might play point guard sometimes for you, so basically a combo, which the best of the rest kind of stuff for 23 range, like Kobe Buffkin will be off the board already, which stinks because he's great. Let me see who else I would have in that kind of category. Jalen Hood-Schifino, I don't like. He'll probably be off the board, though, knowing the draft. Yeah, I mean, you're really looking at like a situation where Brandon Podziemski
is
who
available. I'm taking. That's the guy I would like.
Be our best option at 23, and I don't think he'll be there. But if he was there, I would have no issues taking him.
He's the one I look at because like
he's got
not
size.
Only do I love what everything he does, he shoots the ball from 3, which we were dog from 3. We were literal
we just
dog
didn't take
from 3. Like, and I don't know if adding him, if that's just going to be like, oh, he can shoot from 3, but we still ain't going to shoot from 3.
Well, our coach would have to coach, and that would help us because remember 2 years ago, we were a top, either the number 1 or like a top 5 3-point percentage team, but we were like 28th in threes taken.
Wasn't that when we had Hoiberg, a coach who wanted to have the team shoot threes? Well, it makes sense
if we had him, but no, this was literally last year.
Okay.
Last year we were a top 5 3-point percentage team, but we were bottom 5 in taken.
Yeah.
So we just don't shoot them, and that's because our scheme is let Zach ISO, now let DeMar ISO, now let Zach ISO.
But DeMar
top of the key, let Zach ISO.
But in this situation, DeMar wouldn't be there anymore.
Well, the whole point would be have a point guard.
Yeah, we would have Simons would be the point guard,
which would be great. Yeah. So. Yeah, no. If we did want to go, even if we got Simons and we wanted to go for another ball handler, we could label it like that. Podziemski would be a great pickup if he's on the board at 23. I think he goes higher though. I really do.
Also, he's a dude that's playing then close to home. Chicago's not that far from Wisconsin.
Correct.
I mean, let's be honest. Let's be honest. The entire south of their state wants to be called the Chicagoland area, anyways. So, dude, that made me so angry when you would go to southern Wisconsin and they'll be like, yeah, this is the northern Chicago area. No, it's not. As soon as you get to McHenry, you're no longer in Chicago, and that's before Wisconsin. Algonquin isn't even Wisconsin or isn't even Chicago. Dave,
Midwest things, don't you know?
Don't you know?
Amar Haley's a name that could be in that area as well. UCLA. Turned it on late after his teammate Clark got hurt. Could be a combo, could be a point. Had a really good scrimmage, had a good combine, great tournament run. By all standards, seems to be good. I went really high on them, and then I kind of teetered back down after I watched his Gonzaga game again. Because was it Gonzaga? I'm blanking. Yeah, UCLA Gonzaga. That was a good game, but there's some things in his game that obviously has to work on. Still, none of these guys are in the 20s. None of them are perfect prospects, so who cares?
Who cares?
Yeah, I think some of those guys like that. I don't think a Nick Smith Jr. would be on the board still, even though he's more of a combo, just almost a pure shooting guard at this point. It's just there's almost a gap there as far as guys who can create offense for you, because nope, not going there. There are guys who might be able to do that very well, but you wouldn't want to take them at 23. You'd want to trade back and get Marcus Sasser, who great 3-and-D player. I mean, he's just old.
Is that the other option? Is that we trade to get 23, but then we trade that pick to then get more picks or move back? Or
I think it depends on who's fallen. If we get 23 and we take GG Jackson, I just want to burn down my house at that point.
Don't do that. He ain't worth it.
He ain't worth it is right, Ricky. That is exactly
worth burning down your house for.
No, I would just tell the Bulls he ain't worth it.
Retro's gonna be mad at you, man.
Well, I don't know how Retro can watch GG Jackson and think he's. Yep, never mind. We're just going to leave it there. It'd be great if we could trade back further, but it's going to depend so much on who's falling. There's a couple names who I would jump on if they were there at 23 for ball handlers, but I don't necessarily know that any of them are there. Also, I don't know that, what if we took a center? What if Lively fell? What if we're in a situation where, we've already talked that we're negotiating with Vucevic, and that's nice and all. But if Derek Lively falls to 23, who says no? If we're in a situation where, who's another guy who could fall? We've seen some rumors around, Keontae George. Keontae George has been rumored to be sliding down boards a little bit. Personally, I would pass on him, but I could see the Bulls front office want to take a shot at another young ball handler. So, could go that way.
Another thing I do want to throw out here is Casey Johnson has reported on this too. He said several rival executives who NBC Sports Chicago talked to at the Combine are skeptical about the long-term marriage between Zach LaVine and the Bulls.
Yeah,
LaVine, who has been loyal to the Bulls, has grown tired of consistently landing in trade rumors, although talks of the New York Knicks' interest at the trade deadline was overstated.
Yeah, the Knicks are also waiting for Embiid to freak out on his front office too.
That can happen at any point. Like, that's just a CM Punk pipe bomb waiting to happen.
That's true. But, no, Zach LaVine has not been loyal to us, and we haven't been good to him. It's been a terrible relationship the whole way through. We're like, you're worth $15 million. He's like, I bet you I can go get paid more. We're like, go ahead and prove it. And he went and got an offer for 20. We're like, how dare you want to leave Chicago? Yeah, we'll pay the 20. And then guess what?
How dare you? Oh, by the way, we'll match.
He goes ahead and plays really well for a couple of years. You know, his health was a concern coming off the ACLs, like a couple nagging injuries here and there. But for the most part, he was up there like with Devin Booker stat lines for a year and a half span. Guess what? Who was going to pay him money, Ricky? The Bulls sure as fuck didn't want to pay him money.
I'll say this, though. When it comes to Zach LaVine and the loyalty, at least he hasn't been like other prima donnas in the NBA.
Where are you going?
Like, just generally, you see with other teams where it's like, you know what? I want out of here. I'm just going to sit. I'm just not going to play. Like, we never got that from Zach. Ricky. Zach always went out there and at least was like, hey, I'm going to play. Ricky, unless he was hurt.
Do you know what Zach LaVine has done to us?
What?
The Vucevic trade. The DeMar DeRozan trade.
I mean, AK made those deals.
No, those are products of, we have to keep Zach LaVine here because he was holding us hostage as an organization going, I want to actually compete and try to win playoff games, and you guys aren't putting a roster around me. Now, what did we give up for Vucevic and DeMar DeRozan?
I would put those on more on AK than Zach LaVine, though.
Well, they could have made other moves, that's for sure.
They could have made other moves. The thing with those is that AK is also like, and this is the one thing I know Jake says, and I kind of agree with him, is it's okay to make a move, it not work, and then go, okay, yeah, that didn't work. We need to double back. AK though doubles down. Like, no, this is gonna work. And like now that Lonzo Ball is never gonna play again, it's kind of like, like, was that the biggest swindle? Like, was that the biggest con job in the NBA, Dave? No. Where he swindled us out of that contract? Did he know he wasn't going to play? Did he know? No.
Are you fucking Alex Jones?
Maybe. Dave,
I'm just saying.
He shouldn't, like, we should have been able to tell the future, right?
Zach LaVine's timeline forced us to give up Wendell Carter Jr., Franz Wagner, a pick this year, pick in 2025.
Yeah, but what did you expect that?
Lowry Markkinen.
Did you expect them to just say, you know what, we're just gonna suck? Like this. I think we are all.
I just read off.
I think we are also the problem.
Did you hear the names I read off?
Yeah, I did. But like, we are also the problem.
Those are all good players.
I don't think that it's all like, I don't hate Zach. Do I think it might be time to move on from him? Maybe, because I don't think, like, I'm starting to think we're never going to win a title with this marriage happening. Like, yeah.
When your best player refuses to play defense, and he has, and I'm going too hard on him at this point. I realize that. He did improve defensively. He was an above average defender this past year. Got to be nice, so we got to pump up his trade value right now.
Because all those GMs that are listening right now.
They all listen. We all know they do. They listen to me. They're picking my brain. Yeah, I do think that, like, he definitely has some value there, but, like, he has not been a guy who can lead a franchise. He has the wrong attitude. DeMar said it when he came in. Pat Beverly said it. Goran Dragic said it. When everybody else is saying that you should probably, fix your shit because kind of acting like a child right now. This is not a leader of men. This is not a leader in the locker room. This is not someone other people look up to. Is problematic, and that's what I'm really having a problem with. We built our franchise, or we tried to build a franchise around someone who shouldn't have had that done. At best, he could be a second best as long as you have a good locker room and you have a leader. But clearly, he's not a leader. He's not that guy, and he plays emotionally, and it hurts you.
I'm gonna say this though. I don't think it's Zach's fault. Like you said, it's not Zach's fault.
3 different guys on the outside come in and tell us how much he sucks.
Just wait. I'm gonna get somewhere. You know whose fault it is? D Wade's. If that doesn't happen, Dave, we don't trade Jimmy. We don't make the trade for Zach. Am I wrong?
You can't go that far back.
I can though. To me, the whole, and I know this is
Spencer Hawes' fault.
No, not that far.
Yeah, Spencer Hawes didn't hurt Derrick Rose.
I'm just saying the Bull
won the game.
When it comes to Bulls history, if you look in hindsight's always 2020. The season D Wade came in and the year Rondo got hurt and that whole implosion.
Yeah.
That was looking back, that was a turning point for the franchise. And if that doesn't happen, we're not in the timeline we're in right now. That's all I'm saying. I think all the stuff that we're now in with Zach, we don't make the move for him if that season and all the drama that came from that didn't happen.
You know what's funny, though?
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy has come out and said the reason he went to Miami was Wade. It was because Dwayne was talking to him about how they took the game of basketball seriously, how they were all in, how guys held each other with accountability. And that's what Jimmy went back and went, that's what I saw when I was a rookie. Yeah. That's what I saw on the Bulls. And now these kids can't hack it. And they can't take any criticism. And they don't want to have any accountability held against them. So, yeah, I want to go play for the team that you're telling me you won a championship with. And you actually multiple championships. Duh. You won multiple championships with. And has the right culture, the right front office, the right head coach. And, again, the right leadership guiding that franchise forward. Yeah, that sounds like a good deal. I don't even blame him. I don't even blame Jimmy.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm not blaming Jimmy. I'm blaming D Wade.
Yeah, what do you do? Tell him that there's the grass is greener on the outside because it is.
Well, yeah, no, he did. D Wade was the. I don't want to say cancer, but he was the shed of doubt that got into Jimmy's head. He was the one that
it wasn't.
So it was
Jimmy Butler going, my team won't take criticism. I want to win games, and they're not taking the game seriously as I am. Yeah. And guess what? Dwayne Wade went, yeah, that's ridiculous. I'm used to the Heat where we actually gave a f***. And then he goes, that sounds great. I wish I were there. And then they trade him to the Timberwolves. And guess what the Timberwolves do? They go, hey, I don't give a f*** about winning games in basketball. I like playing Fortnite, and I like not being criticized publicly, and I have a soft ego. And you need to coddle the kids to make sure everything's okay. Didn't work out so great for them when he carried them to the playoffs, well hurt. And guess what? Then he moved on to the next team. Same story, same issues. He just wants to play with people who care as much as he does. And that's not a big group of people, let's be honest. Jimmy Butler's a psychopath when it comes to how much he loves basketball. But he found the right coach, he found the right culture, and he found a place where everyone is held to the same standards. And I think that means the world. So, while you might not like Dwayne Wade, he wasn't wrong.
The thing, though, and yet again, this has gone off totally what it is, but I don't. It's a good conversation.
You know what's going to happen.
No. I like it, but when it comes to that point, when I say that point, I mean in time.
It was a fixed point in time for the Bulls franchise where we did pivot. You are 100% right there.
And the thing that the reason why I hold so much animosity for D Wade because of that is because So we were on a trajectory of 2015 Hoiberg comes in. We miss the playoffs, but we see some good things.
Yeah.
The next year, 2016, 2017, like we were still a playoff team. But it's like in Hoiberg's second year of coming from college to the NBA, which is a big step, he was running an offense that honestly, Dave, I would like to see here. Like actually spacing the floor, shooting threes. Like it was so exciting. And it's like because of what happened his second year, it forced us to move on from Jimmy, get Zach LaVine, who was unproven at the time. Drafted Lauri Markkanen in that deal because we got the pick from the Timberwolves.
Yeah.
But then it's like the next year we missed the playoffs, obviously. Like Zach was unproven. Lowry was just a rookie. And then his fourth year he was fired after what? 24 games? And it's like I just look at it and I would love to go to the multiverse where we don't sign D Wade and see if the Bulls prosper instead of Jimmy gets fed up and Jimmy wants out. Not saying Jimmy was wrong, but I feel like Jimmy could have been the one to stay. And if the way I see it on the outside, Jimmy was frustrated because of everything you said. Mm-hmm. Rondo was on one side being the good vet.
Yeah, it's weird. I'll admit.
And D Wade was on the other side being the cancer. One was the angel, one was the devil on the shoulder of Jimmy.
And it's not who you'd guess because we brought Wade back as you're a hometown guy at the end of your career. Come live out like
he only came to us because the Heat didn't want to pay him.
Yeah.
That's it. And he destroyed our franchise.
Then we gave him to the Heat.
And then he went to the Cavs.
Nope. Cavs, there we go.
The Cavs. And then back to
yeah.
I hold so much animosity against D Wade for that. And I will always hold on to animosity for that.
I mean, he
is the reason. I love Jimmy, Dave. There's a reason why I wanted them to win against the Celtics. I love Jimmy. I think the Sixers should have kept Jimmy.
Yeah. Tobias
Harris over me.
Well, don't get Jake started.
But like that to me, 2017 was the year. That's why we're in the Zach LaVine stuff that you're talking about now. And maybe a reset. Maybe, hey, Zach, we'll trade you to Portland. Yeah. Maybe that needs to happen.
Yep. Move on from Zach. Move on from DeMar.
Mm-hmm.
And let's actually let the kids play. If I don't get my Carlick Jones minutes this year, when will I? You know, that's what I'm saying.
Your Dalen Terry minutes, too.
Well, obviously.
He got some minutes, but he didn't get a lot of minutes.
He got like 8. Like combined for the whole year.
Not an average. Combined.
Just bullshit. So, no, I just... even after all this, Ricky, still love the Bulls. Can't not love the Bulls. I really do hope we move both of those players, though, and we actually reset, because I want to see what this team is without that cloud over their heads.
Yep.
I think our head coach might have the option to, use plays if he doesn't have 2 of the most ISO-heavy players in the NBA. Didn't have to be that way, but he chose to let them do that, so... We got to hit the reset button, and I would love nothing more than see one of my favorite young players come back in Anthony Simons in a deal for the 3 or for the 23, whichever, or I don't care, whatever it takes to get it done. Be my guest. You can have wherever you want. You can have Vucevic if you want to sign and trade. We can do that after. We can sign and trade Vucevic for Nurkic. After the fact,
Well, and the thing that's gonna play into it is AK. Yeah. Is AK going to admit that, hey, the path we were on was not the right one and it's time for a hard reset?
Yeah.
Or are we going to continue to double down? Nope. We are on the right path. The Lonzo thing is a unfortunate event, and we can fix this.
The fact that Pat Beverly and
if he was healthy, we would have We were one win away, Dave, from being in the finals.
Yeah,
I can say that. I can say that.
I
Prove me wrong.
Going on to a nice conversation about how.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, we all know with Lonzo Ball, we were the best team in the East. We were number 1 in defense. I think number 1 or 2 in defense and top 5 in offense. We were absolutely set up to succeed. We had a game plan. It worked great. We were running the floor. We were beating a bunch of bad teams. We weren't winning against good teams up to that point, but we didn't get to see enough of the season with Lonzo to know if that would change the trend. And then this year was the opposite. Without Lonzo, we beat the good teams. We couldn't beat the bad teams. Like, Pat Beverly somehow was just a game changer for the franchise for the last, 24 games.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that a point guard who plays defense gave us that much, I understand why we feel so desperate to go find that, because that truly does feel like the missing cog to the system. If we could put in, a Cason Wallace, would fit amazingly. He would fit amazingly. That's why I feel like if you can't get Cason Wallace, you probably should look at Marcus Sasser. Like, I know there's drop off, but he's next best thing probably available for us.
I mean, he played well at Houston.
He played great.
He's not bad.
No.
And
he's small,
and the thing is
that
Houston team is it's that Houston team is so well coached too.
Yes.
Like, they're just a well coached team to where it's like, I would be fine with Marcus Sasser being a Bull.
Yep.
It's just at 23, is that the pick you're going to make? That
feels like a reach, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing that doesn't help, Dave, is that, so Jones and Terry not playing. That's bad. But the other thing that didn't help, on top of the Lonzo injury,
have 8 guards. Well, it's not a great roster.
It's not just that. It's Caruso's mainly defense.
Yeah.
And let's be completely honest, I can't defend him anymore, is Io. He had a drop-off.
Yeah, I mean...
He had a drop-off this year. Now, the one thing I hate is everyone, everything, especially in our Discord, where I had to hear people man, Io's been garbage. He's the worst thing ever. And it's like, dude, how many times have you seen a guy have a sophomore slump and then turn it around? People's careers aren't decided after their second year in the NBA.
Yeah.
But I can't hide the fact that he had a drop-off year and it was not a good year. And that
he was in over his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, he thrived under his rookie year, but it felt like that was just he didn't have time to think and realize, and he just played.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a good thing.
Maybe he was thinking too much this year.
Could be. So, I don't know.
Do I know what the Bulls are going to do? No. I
have a clue. But we could trade with Portland. That's what we do know. All reports say it. We've been interviewing people who are top picks, like you mentioned.
We'll at least get 23, I think, because they'll want to free up their pick.
It does feel that way. They need to make a move to make more moves. So I'm hopeful. But what if we took 23 and then slapped that together
with a future first and moved up?
With Zach LaVine for Kyrie Irving in the number 10.
I don't want Kyrie.
Set it on fire.
I don't want Kyrie. Dave, before we end, people who are watching this.
Yeah,
this is way. This is way after the fact, but I need to point this stat out to you. Okay. We're recording this on Thursday. Game 1 just ended.
Yeah.
Dave, take a guess. How many free throws the Heat had?
Do you want me to read the number?
They went 2 of 2, Dave.
Oh, guys. Yeah. That's a stat that's made up.
Highsmith was the only one to take free throws.
It's a stat that's made up. It's a made up stat. Fake news.
I mean, is ESPN giving us fake news? That's a fake stat?
Fake news. Jimmy Butler not going to the free throw line? Did he even play?
He played 38 minutes.
I know he did.
Didn't go to the line. Yet again, I would love to watch that game, Dave.
I'm going to watch it.
Part of me, when I see that, goes, were the officials just not calling anything?
Well, it's not like the Nuggets are known for their tight,
but the Nuggets went to the line 20 times.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
again, we were recording, we weren't watching, so.
I saw that and I was like, whoa, only 2 foul shots, but that is going to do it for the draft room. Dave, you were asking for time. Without the I don't know how much time we had in front of it. We're about maybe hour 38, maybe
Feels
hour
good.
37.
Feels pretty good.
Whenever we talk about the Bulls, it's going to be long, and we're going to probably get to something that probably wasn't intended in the original topic.
What they want.
Going all the way back to 2017. But remember, if you want to support the channel, help make these videos possible, go and check our Patreon page. That link is down below. You can see the draft room early. Patrons see it on Fridays. Everyone else sees it on Mondays. You can also become a channel member for that as well. You can also join the best community in the universe, our Discord. That link is down below in the description. Dave and I are going to have, as you're viewing this, the content might, I'm going to say this, as you're viewing this, by maybe later today, because everyone's seeing this on Monday, by later today, even sooner, probably sooner, there's videos, draft videos on the YouTube page. Go check them out. There are other videos. I'm going to put one of them as the end card if they're up by this time. Don't know when they're going to officially be up, but there will be more draft content. You can check it out right now because you're watching it. But Dave, thank you as always. These I love the ones where we just ramble, or I ramble at the end.
Yeah.
I forgot.
I'm way under today.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Too shy of tying. We had 14, but one was me. One was me.
If I'm being completely honest.
I don't know. Like, no. Here's the other thing. There's
my mic doesn't always pick it up.
There's some of them that don't get picked up, so I don't write those down. Like, you did say the S word at one point, but I'm like, Mike didn't pick it up, so I don't have to bleep it.
I need to buy a mother mic stand for this. Otherwise, like if I don't have the stand or the arm, it's an arm. That's what it's called.
And he got two. He gets two in right at the end. Oh.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy. If you're still listening to this point, you're here for us. Let's be honest.
You get two in right at the end. You tied your record. As always, have a good day, everybody. As always, we'd like to thank the people that make these videos possible, our patrons whose names are displayed on the screen now. If you would like to become a patron, go ahead and click the Patreon icon in the bottom right. And if you'd like to check out another video from MVP Sports, hit the video in the upper left. As always, thanks for watching.